I know you want ratings, but you are a woman. And no woman wants a body, and no woman wants nothing like that on them. So they wasn't even talking about that. You brought that back.
That's how K. Michelle confronted Angela Yee at the interview with The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club is no stranger to intense moments where guests and hosts alike bring raw emotion and unfiltered opinions to the table. Over the years, the show has seen its fair share of confrontational and explosive interviews that have left audiences buzzing. Here are some of the most heated interviews that have defined the show's history. The explosive feud between Gucci Mane and The Breakfast Club. There's an ongoing tension between Gucci Mane and the co-hosts of The Breakfast Club, specifically Angela Yee and DJ Envy. This feud, which has been simmering for years, reignited in 2019 and has since taken on a life of its own. The roots of this conflict date back to a December 2016 interview on The Breakfast Club. Gucci Mane was promoting his album, The Return of East Atlanta Santa, when what started as a routine interview quickly turned into a confrontation between him and Angela Yee. The tension arose when Gucci claimed that Yee had previously tried to pursue a romantic relationship with him. Yee, however, denied these claims on the spot. The situation escalated as Gucci alleged that Yee had texted him asking for his hotel location, a claim she continued to refute. This awkward exchange set the stage for what would become a prolonged feud. While Yee maintained her stance, Gucci's assertions left an indelible mark on their relationship. Fast forward to October 2019, and Gucci Mane, once again, stirred the pot. After years of relative silence on the matter, Gucci took to Instagram to claim that he had been banned from The Breakfast Club. Accompanying his post was a clip from the infamous 2016 interview, as well as footage from a 2010 episode of Yee's podcast, Lip Service, which hinted at a flirtatious interaction between the two. Gucci's Instagram post reignited the controversy, leading to a social media frenzy. He didn't stop there. He went on to label Yee and Envy as expletive-ass whores on Twitter, further inflaming the situation. In response to Gucci's claims, Angela Yee addressed the situation on a segment of The Breakfast Club called Breakfast Club Court. During this segment, Yee firmly denied that Gucci had ever been banned from the show. She also revealed that a representative for Gucci had called to apologize for his behavior, an apology she declined, stating that any apology should be as public as the offense. Yee also addressed the lingering rumors about her alleged romantic interest in Gucci, asserting that she was never interested in him and dismissing his claims as lies. According to Yee, Gucci's animosity towards her may have stemmed from an interview The Breakfast Club did with Yo Gotti in 2016, where the rapper mentioned having had a relationship with Gucci's wife, Keisha Kawire. This revelation, Yee speculated, might have fueled Gucci's grudge against her. Despite Yee's public denial of any ban, Gucci Mane doubled down on his narrative during an interview on Everyday Struggle. He admitted that while the word ban was never explicitly used, he felt as though he was being intentionally excluded from the show. Gucci explained that every time his team reached out to The Breakfast Club to arrange an interview, the hosts would decline, citing discomfort or lack of trust. Gucci also suggested that Yee was embarrassed by their 2016 interaction, and that this was the reason she allegedly didn't want him back on the show. On October 21st, 2019, Gucci Mane took things a step further during an interview with Charlamagne, a fellow Breakfast Club host. In this interview, Gucci referred to Yee as a punk-ass and directed his ire towards DJ Envy as well, calling him a Gucci also threatened to slap Envy the next time they crossed paths, a bold statement that quickly made headlines. Gucci's issue with Envy seemed to stem from the Breakfast Club Court segment, during which Envy referenced a 2013 Twitter rant by Gucci, where he claimed to have had intimate relationships with several high-profile women in the music industry, including Nicki Minaj, Ciara, and Monica. Gucci accused Envy of being too afraid to interview him alongside Charlamagne, insinuating that Envy was scared to face him. Hours after Gucci's threat, DJ Envy responded on Instagram with a picture of himself and his dog. In the post, Envy denied ever being slapped or physically confronted by any artist and defended his actions. He clarified that Gucci was never banned from The Breakfast Club and explained that when asked whether he would do an interview without Yee, he insisted that any appearance must first be cleared with his co-hosts. Envy also expressed his support for Yee, emphasizing the importance of standing by one's team. The unfiltered comeback of Soulja Boy jump-started 2019. In early 2019, the hip-hop community was hit with a seismic wave of energy, ignited by none other than Soulja Boy, a name that had become almost a relic of the past. But as Soulja Boy took the stage at the Breakfast Club, he not only reignited his career, but also sent shockwaves throughout the industry that would make 2019 a year to remember. On January 16, 2019, Soulja Boy, known for his 2007 hit Crank That, walked into the Breakfast Club studio, and the internet has never been the same since. From the moment he sat down, it was clear that this wasn't just any ordinary interview. Soulja Boy was on a mission to reclaim his place in the spotlight and to set the record straight about his influence in the music industry. With unfiltered bravado and a chip on his shoulder, Soulja Boy quickly turned the interview into a theatrical event. "I started this internet," he declared, pounding his chest with conviction. It was a statement that immediately set the tone for what would become one of the most memorable interviews in the history of the Breakfast Club. Soulja Boy wasn't just here to chat. He was here to take credit for everything he believed was rightfully his. The moment that would forever define this interview, and possibly the year 2019, came when the topic of Drake was brought up. When Charlamagne the God mentioned that Drake was the biggest rapper in the world, Soulja Boy erupted. "Drake? That got bodied by Pusha T? That hid his kid from the world?" His incredulity was palpable, and the internet latched onto it with the ferocity of a viral meme. In that moment, Soulja Boy wasn't just a rapper. He was a performer, an internet personality who knew exactly how to manipulate the public consciousness. His claim that Drake's success was, in part, due to him, citing Drake's interpolation of Soulja Boy's "Kiss Me Through the Phone" in Miss Me, was both bold and controversial. But in the world of hip-hop, where braggadocio and self-promotion reigned supreme, it was a move that made perfect sense. Soulja Boy's narrative throughout the interview was simple. He was the pioneer who never got his due. "I'm the reason why all these new artists getting signed," he proclaimed. He detailed how he was the first artist to leverage platforms like YouTube and social media to propel his career, laying the groundwork for the new generation of rappers who would follow in his footsteps. His claims, while debatable, struck a chord with many. Soulja Boy positioned himself as the underdog, the forgotten pioneer who was finally stepping out of the shadows to reclaim his crown. It was a narrative that resonated, especially in a culture that thrives on the idea of the comeback. But Soulja Boy didn't stop there. He took aim at Tyga, who many had credited with having the biggest comeback of 2018. "Tyga?" Soulja Boy exclaimed, his voice dripping with disdain. "That lost his to Travis Scott?" It was a moment that perfectly encapsulated the energy Soulja Boy brought to the interview. Unfiltered, brash, and unapologetic. The interview quickly went viral, with social media exploding with memes, GIFs, and video clips of Soulja Boy's outbursts. Suddenly, Soulja Boy was everywhere, on Twitter, Instagram, and even in casual conversations. He had successfully jump-started 2019, not just for himself, but for the entire hip-hop community. In the weeks following the interview, Soulja Boy rode the wave of his newfound relevance. He released new music, dropped merchandise, and continued to make headlines with his outlandish claims and social media antics. For a brief moment, it seemed like Soulja Boy had truly engineered one of the most remarkable comebacks in recent memory. But beyond the headlines and the viral moments, Soulja Boy's interview at the Breakfast Club was a masterclass in self-promotion. He understood the power of the internet and how to harness it to his advantage. In an era where attention is the most valuable currency, Soulja Boy managed to secure a windfall. The music industry, however, responded with a mix of admiration and skepticism. While some praised Soulja Boy for his entrepreneurial spirit and his role in pioneering the use of social media in hip-hop, others were less convinced. Critics pointed out that while Soulja Boy may have been an early adopter of platforms like YouTube, his influence on the new generation of artists was overstated. Yet, even the skeptics couldn't deny the impact of his Breakfast Club interview. It was a moment that cut through the noise, reminding everyone of the raw power of personality in the music business. Soulja Boy may not have had the biggest hits of the year, but he had something just as valuable: the ability to capture the world's attention. The unforgettable confrontation with Angela Yee on The Breakfast Club. When K. Michelle walked into The Breakfast Club studio on March 29, 2016, she was undoubtedly aware of the brewing tension. Known for her candor and unfiltered demeanor, the R&B singer had never shied away from speaking her mind. This time was no different. The interview would soon become one of the most intense and talked about moments in the history of the popular morning show, marking a rare instance where the show's usually composed co-host, Angela Yee, found herself in the crosshairs. The backstory: seeds of tension. The tension between K. Michelle and Angela Yee didn't arise out of thin air. It had been seeded during a prior interview on The Breakfast Club, where Mino and Uncle Murda, two prominent figures in the hip-hop community, made disparaging comments about K. Michelle. The two rappers crudely discussed the scent of the singer's private parts, an inappropriate and offensive topic that left K. Michelle feeling disrespected. What made matters worse, at least in K. Michelle's eyes, was Angela Yee's role during the interview. Rather than intervening or redirecting the conversation, Yee allowed the comments to air unchallenged, a decision that K. Michelle interpreted as a betrayal. As an artist who has consistently been vocal about her struggles, both personal and professional, K. Michelle was no stranger to controversy. However, the nature of the remarks made by Mino and Uncle Murda struck a deeply personal chord, and she felt compelled to address it. The fact that Angela Yee, a woman she might have expected to be more empathetic, had not only allowed the comments, but had also, in K. Michelle's view, facilitated the disrespect, set the stage for a confrontation that would be anything but polite. K. Michelle's confrontation with Angela Yee on The Breakfast Club. The tension between K. Michelle and Angela Yee didn't arise in a vacuum. It was the culmination of a series of events that had taken place during a previous interview on The Breakfast Club. In that interview, rappers Mino and Uncle Murda had made disparaging remarks about K. Michelle, specifically targeting her personal hygiene with crude comments. The comments were not only disrespectful, but also deeply personal, aimed at demeaning K. Michelle in a way that struck at her dignity and reputation. Angela Yee, known as the voice of reason and the show's peacemaker, did little to defend K. Michelle during that exchange, choosing instead to steer the conversation without addressing the offensive nature of the comments. This inaction did not go unnoticed by K. Michelle, who felt betrayed by Yee's silence. To K. Michelle, Yee's failure to intervene wasn't just professional negligence, it was a personal affront. When K. Michelle arrived at The Breakfast Club for her own interview, there was no indication of the storm that was about to unfold. The interview began as most do, with light banter and promotional talk, but just 7 minutes in, K. Michelle pivoted sharply, bringing up the comments made by Mino and Uncle Murda. What followed was a masterclass in controlled confrontation. K. Michelle's approach was not one of outright aggression, but rather of measured, eloquent rebuke. She addressed Angela Yee directly, expressing her disappointment in a tone that was as calm as it was cutting. The usual dynamic of the show, where the host controlled the flow of the conversation, had been upended. In that moment, K. Michelle was in control, and she was determined to make her feelings known. She didn't just stop at expressing disappointment. K. Michelle went on to challenge Yee's role as a woman in the industry. She questioned how Yee could, in good conscience, allow such demeaning comments to go unchallenged. This wasn't just a critique of Yee's professional conduct. It was a call-out of what K. Michelle perceived as a betrayal of solidarity among women in the entertainment industry. It was a powerful moment, one that highlighted the often unspoken expectations of loyalty and support among women, particularly in an industry as cutthroat and male-dominated as hip-hop. Yee, visibly uncomfortable, attempted to defend herself, but the damage had been done. K. Michelle's pointed remarks had struck a nerve, and the normally composed Yee was left with little to say. The confrontation was raw, emotional, and unfiltered, qualities that The Breakfast Club is known for, but which are rarely directed at the hosts themselves. The tension between the two women was palpable, creating an atmosphere so thick it could be cut with a knife. K. Michelle's calm yet firm demeanor contrasted sharply with Yee's uncharacteristic silence, making the exchange even more intense. The confrontation was so unexpected and so personal that it caught everyone off guard, including the show's co-hosts, Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy, who watched the exchange unfold with a mix of shock and discomfort. Dame Dash versus DJ Envy on The Breakfast Club. Dame Dash, the brash and outspoken entrepreneur, known for his unfiltered demeanor, brought his trademark intensity to his 2017 interview on The Breakfast Club. The interview, which was meant to be a straightforward conversation about Dash's career and experiences, quickly escalated into a heated confrontation, particularly during a discussion about his tumultuous past with Jay-Z. This clash became one of the most memorable and contentious moments in the history of the popular morning show. From the outset, Dame Dash's presence was electric. His reputation for being unapologetically candid preceded him, and this interview was no exception. As he settled into his seat at the studio, it was clear that Dash was not there to play nice. The Breakfast Club hosts, DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God, and Angela Yee, were prepared for a lively discussion, but even they could not have anticipated the level of intensity that was about to unfold. The atmosphere in the studio shifted dramatically when DJ Envy broached the subject of Dame Dash's relationship with Jay-Z. The topic was particularly sensitive, given that Dash and Jay-Z had once been business partners and close friends, but had experienced a dramatic falling out. The conversation began with Envy asking about Dash's thoughts on their past collaboration and any lingering issues between them. Dame Dash's response was immediate and filled with the fiery passion that has become his signature. Dash did not hold back. He expressed his grievances about Jay-Z with a fervor that was both surprising and captivating. The discussion quickly became more than just a recount of past events. It evolved into a full-blown confrontation. Dame Dash's frustration with Envy's questions was palpable. He accused DJ Envy of being too cozy with Jay-Z and not understanding the real issues at play. Dash's comments were sharp and laden with the kind of raw emotion that makes for compelling television. The back and forth between Envy and Dash grew more intense as the interview progressed. Envy, who initially tried to maintain a professional demeanor, found himself increasingly at odds with Dash's aggressive and confrontational style. Dash's comments about his own achievements and his criticisms of the music industry were delivered with a forceful boss talk that seemed directed not just at Jay-Z, but also at Envy and anyone else who might question his authority or decisions. The situation became so charged that it was clear several edits were needed to manage the rawness of the exchange. The 74-minute interview, which was originally intended to showcase Dash's perspective on his career and contributions, became a battleground of emotions and opinions. The tension between Dash and Envy was so palpable that it seemed almost to leap out of the screen, making it a defining moment in the show's history. Throughout the interview, Dash's aggressive rhetoric and unfiltered opinions created an atmosphere of tension. His criticisms were not limited to Jay-Z. He took the opportunity to challenge the legitimacy of Envy's position and the broader industry's attitudes. This created a prolonged and intense dialogue that was both compelling and uncomfortable to watch. Master P's heated Breakfast Club showdown. Master P's appearance on The Breakfast Club started like any other interview, with the host Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee discussing his extensive career, his contributions to the music industry, and his ventures outside of music. However, as the conversation progressed, the mood in the room began to shift, especially when the topic turned to the new generation of artists coming up in the entertainment industry. Master P, a pioneer who had built an empire from the ground up, was asked about his thoughts on the current state of the music business. His response was measured but firm. He expressed concern over the younger generation's lack of knowledge about the industry's history and their apparent disregard for the contributions of those who came before them. For Master P, respect for the trailblazers who had paved the way was non-negotiable, and he made it clear that this was an issue he felt strongly about. The tension in the room escalated when the conversation took a more personal turn. The hosts broached the topic of Master P's personal life, specifically his relationship with his ex-wife, Sonya Miller. The couple had been embroiled in a highly publicized and contentious divorce, and the media had been quick to speculate about what had gone wrong. Master P, known for keeping his personal life private, was visibly uncomfortable with the direction the interview was taking. When Charlamagne the God brought up the subject, Master P's demeanor shifted noticeably. His responses became shorter, and the air in the room grew thick with unease. Despite the host's attempts to steer the conversation, it was clear that Master P was not interested in discussing his private life, especially not in a public forum like the Breakfast Club. For him, certain topics were off limits, and he wasn't afraid to draw a line in the sand. But the real flashpoint of the interview came when Charlamagne asked about Master P's marketing strategy during the No Limit Records era, specifically referencing the infamous album cover of Mercedes in 1998. The cover, which featured the artist provocatively posed on the back of a car, had been a talking point for years, often criticized for its controversial and sexualized imagery. Charlamagne, known for his direct and sometimes provocative, questioning style, brought it up in a way that suggested he was testing the waters to see how Master P would respond. Master P's reaction was immediate and decisive. He swiftly shut down the conversation, making it clear that he did not appreciate the line of questioning. For Master P, The album cover was part of a broader marketing strategy that had been instrumental in the success of No Limit Records, a label that had revolutionized the music industry and given a voice to artists who might otherwise have been overlooked. But more importantly, Master P felt that the question was disrespectful, trivializing the hard work and strategic thinking that had gone into building his brand. As the tension in the room reached its peak, it became evident that Master P was not just defending a particular marketing choice, he was standing up for his legacy. For a man who had worked tirelessly to create something out of nothing, who had turned No Limit Records into a powerhouse against all odds, respect was paramount. He had built his empire on principles of integrity, hard work, and respect, and he expected those values to be reciprocated. Charlamagne, sensing the gravity of the situation, quickly offered an apology. It was a rare moment of humility from the usually unflappable radio host who recognized that he had crossed a line. The interview concluded with Master P reiterating the importance of respect in the industry, not just for himself, but for all the pioneers who had helped shape the culture. When Onyx brought the heat in the Breakfast Club interview, the summer of 2014 was a memorable one for the Breakfast Club, but perhaps no moment stands out more vividly than the explosive interview with the legendary rap group Onyx. On July 31st, the interview that began with casual banter quickly spiraled into one of the most hostile and unforgettable exchanges in the history of the show. This moment not only left the host stunned, but also cemented the group's reputation for their aggressive and confrontational style. When Onyx, known for their hardcore style and gritty lyrics, walked into the Breakfast Club studio, there was an air of anticipation. The group, consisting of Fredro Starr, Sticky Fingaz, and Sonny Caesar, had a reputation that preceded them: fierce, unapologetic, and never once to back down from a challenge. The interview began on a light note, with the trio engaging in the usual talk about their music, their legacy, and the state of hip-hop. There was an underlying tension, but nothing that indicated the storm that was about to break. Charlamagne the God, known for his unfiltered questions and willingness to push the envelope, initially seemed to be navigating the interview with caution. Onyx, while intense, appeared to be in good spirits, discussing their influence on the rap scene and the raw energy they brought to the genre. However, it wasn't long before Charlamagne, true to form, decided to steer the conversation into more controversial waters. The interview took a sharp turn when Charlamagne brought up Fredro Starr's past interactions with R&B singer Brandy. The mention of this subject was like striking a match in a room full of gasoline. The history between Fredro Starr and Brandy was a sensitive topic, rooted in rumors and past tensions that had been simmering for years. Fredro Starr, who had once co-starred with Brandy on the television show Moshe, had previously made controversial comments about their relationship, and Charlamagne's decision to bring it up again was the spark that ignited the fire. Fredro Starr's demeanor shifted immediately. Gone was the initial levity. In its place was a palpable sense of anger and resentment. He snapped at Charlamagne, demanding respect and making it clear that he did not appreciate the line of questioning. "Let that go," he barked, his tone leaving no room for negotiation. It was evident that Charlamagne had touched a nerve, and the tension in the room became thick enough to cut with a knife. As the interview progressed, the atmosphere grew increasingly hostile. Fredro Starr's outburst set the tone for the rest of the conversation, with Sticky Fingaz and Sonny Caesar backing him up, both verbally and through their body language. The trio, known for their confrontational nature, made it clear that they were not going to let Charlamagne or anyone else in the studio disrespect them. Charlamagne, for his part, did not back down either. He attempted to steer the conversation back on track, but the damage had been done. The rapport that had existed at the start of the interview was shattered, replaced by a tense standoff between the hosts and their guests. Charlamagne, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee, who typically act as a balanced team, were visibly caught off guard by the intensity of Onyx's reaction. The back and forth between Charlamagne and Fredro Starr became the focal point of the interview. Fredro accused Charlamagne of being disrespectful, while Charlamagne maintained that he was simply doing his job by asking tough questions. Sticky Fingaz and Sonny Caesar, though less vocal, made their presence felt through their intense stares and occasional interjections, creating an atmosphere that was as threatening as it was uncomfortable. The Onyx interview is often cited as a prime example of the Breakfast Club's ability to bring out raw, unfiltered moments from their guests. It is a testament to the show's format, where nothing is off limits, and guests are encouraged to speak their minds. no matter how controversial or confrontational it may be. For Onyx, the interview reaffirmed their image as hardcore rappers who didn't take disrespect lightly. It was a reminder of the group's roots in the gritty, aggressive world of 90s hip-hop, where toughness and street credibility were everything. The incident with Brandy, rather than being just a small footnote in their career, became a flashpoint that demonstrated their unwillingness to let anyone, even a seasoned interviewer like Charlamagne, cross the line. In the weeks following the interview, social media was ablaze with reactions. Fans of Onyx praised the group for standing their ground, while others criticized Charlamagne for pushing too hard. Regardless of where people stood, the interview became a defining moment in the Breakfast Club's history, one that continues to be referenced whenever discussions of the most intense moments on the show arise. Interestingly, the intensity of the encounter eventually led the Breakfast Club to take down the interview. The decision to remove the footage reflected just how heated and controversial the exchange had become. Onyx's response to asking about the reason why the Breakfast Club took down that video?
I don't know. The numbers was probably piling up. I don't know.
They took it down? I didn't even know they took it down.
I didn't know they took it down.
But
somebody told me that. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to just go in a different direction.
Right.
Maybe they thought it wasn't appropriate for viewers to watch.
While the video may no longer be officially available, the memory of that explosive morning lingers on in the minds of those who witnessed it, further cementing its place as one of the most unforgettable moments in the show's history. This act of removal added another layer to the interview's legacy, making it a rare and sought-after piece of media that continues to be discussed and analyzed by fans and critics alike. That's a wrap on the video. If you enjoyed it, check out one of these boxes too. I'll catch you on the next one.